All right, guys. Again, Gabe Cordova here with Firepoint and with Rockerbox. So we got Josh Rockerbox up here on the corner. We also have Paul Campbell. He's a real estate agent, team lead, brokerage owner in the Portland area who's using them. So we're going to dive right in today with introductions. I do want to hit with you guys right off the bat, though, and remind you. All right, Q&A down at the bottom. So if you have any questions, please click the button. Let us know. We want to answer your questions when they're relevant, when they're happening. So without any further ado, Josh, let's start with you. Please introduce yourself. Tell us all about Rockerbox.
Sure. Howdy. My name is Josh Cunningham. I'm the founder and CEO of Rockerbox. I got started in this whole real estate game about 6 years ago. I was actually working with very closely with Frank Klesitz from Viral Marketing, for those of you out there that are viral fans. And I kind of got one of the most unique educations in the real estate industry. Frank and I traveled the country going to every single real estate event, mastermind, and seminar we could get our hands on to grow viral marketing. But along the way, not only did I get to learn what agents were doing to achieve success in real estate, but I also got to learn what some of the most common frustrations were in the real estate world. And obviously, generating online leads and converting them is a very hot topic as of about 5-6 years ago. And so 4 years ago, I was challenged by a client to help her implement an ISA model within her team. And so we started throwing together.
What's an ISA for those that don't know, Josh?
Inside sales agent. So most people are very, very frustrated with just giving the leads directly to the agent. And then, of course, the agents get frustrated with the quality of the registrations. And so the idea there is to put a middleman right in between that just works and scrubs all those leads. So what we tried 4 years ago is just to hire one ISA for one real estate team. And we very quickly realized that didn't work because it just didn't make economic sense to have the coverage that you need, about 80 hours a week, shopping mall hours, so to speak. And so what started out as a part-time project actually turned into a full-time company, which is called Rockerbox. And for those of you that don't know what a Rockerbox is, it's an old gold mining tool used in the 19th century, used to separate the sand and the gravel from those little flakes of gold. And so, as we all understand in real estate, it's a very lucrative industry when you find those little flakes of gold, but it does require a lot of work to scrub through the dirt and the sand and the gravel to get those. And so that's exactly what we do. We started the company 4 years ago, and now we're sitting at about 80 clients strong. We've got almost 50 part-time ISAs trained up and responding to all of our leads. And over the last 4 years, we've handled over 400,000 registrations and identified over 50,000 hot opportunities for the teams that we work with. So we've learned quite a bit along the way. And myself and one of the partners of the firm, Sam Monreal, just recently did a bunch of research and wrote a book. It'll be coming out later this year called Conversion Secrets. And we sort of share all the data and the research behind why it is that we do what we do at Rockerbox rather than just trying all the different bright and shiny ideas.
Awesome. We're going to dive a lot deeper. Also, and I know his screen says Josh, but we have Paul Campbell from Portland. So Paul, tell us a little bit about you and your company and kind of, your journey so far.
Yo, hey, this is going to be a lot shorter than Josh's. So no, we started out with Keller Williams as a team. We transitioned to our own private brokerage in 2009. We were a kind of in the forefront of online leads. We were a top 100 Boomtown client. We've been transitioning out of that ever since we started working with you guys at Firepoint. We've had everything from the agent round robin model to the ISA in-house, the multiple in-house ISAs. We've had the virtual assistant ISAs. And then we went back to no ISA, and then we recently got on Josh Rockerbox. So we've been down this road a few times, and I like to think that we have a lot of experience in what not to do. So
all right. So you say when you started out, let's start, because we have a lot of people here who are probably different parts of their business. So when you guys were doing online lead gen and you didn't even have in-house, you didn't have ISAs, it was just coming to the agents, like what happened? What was the process?
Oh man. So we had some really well-meaning agents. So I'm going to try really hard not to make this sound negative, but as everybody knows, when you put out the AdWords budget and you're going pretty heavy on it, especially 5 years ago when we started, there was a lot of leads coming in.
Right.
And a lot of it was tire kicking, and agents really, really genuinely meant to call all of the leads. That was the expectation. We had the 5-minute plan. We talked about it from the beginning, but man, oh man, it was really discouraging for people of the agent mindset to probably get 97 no's before they got a yes. And on top of that, that 5-minute turn time was really hard for them because if they were actively showing properties and actively with clients and a lead pops in, it was tough for them to excuse themselves and make that phone call.
Well, and I think that's the big problem right there. How can you be out showing property, writing, and negotiating contracts, which are really your dollar productive activities as an agent, and be sitting at your desk waiting for a lead come in to do not the 1 or 5 or 10, but the multiple follow-up attempts that you need to convert, right?
And the truth of the matter is, I realize that being an agent is a sales job, but at least in my experience, a great agent isn't necessarily a great telemarketer or a
Right.
phone
All
or
right.
even an ISA.
So we fast forward, you hired some in-house ISAs to bring it in-house. How did that go?
Like Josh alluded to, there was hour constraints. We struggled a little bit with pay structure. We started out with a pretty low hourly with a pretty high bonus. And then if the agents weren't following up fast enough for the ISA, who was bonused on basically what the agent was able to do, then the ISA would get pissed.
Right.
And get mad at the agents. We go back and forth there.
And it took time, I'm guessing, to post.
Then we different.
Right. You had to post the job. You had to.
Oh, what's that? You're cutting out there.
Oh, I said, well, in addition, you had to post the job. You had to do the interviewing, the hiring, the training, insurance, all that stuff. So, and not that you can't do that. I did that very successfully, but it does take a lot of time, and we didn't have as many options as there are today when I was running my team. So fast forwarding, you've been with Rockerbox not very long, but a couple months now.
Yeah, just over a couple months. And the initial thoughts from us as a brokerage team is it's insanely amazing. It's extremely consistent. Response rate is on point. I don't think they've ever gone over 5 minutes on a new lead. It's been amazing. It's solved a lot of the problems that we've had with internal ISAs.
Awesome. So, all right. So what we're going to do, everybody, is Paul's given us permission to log into his account. So they've been working. So we're just going to go through, ask Josh some questions, and just actually see real life leads in here. I mean, there's no hiding here, Josh. It's going to be, when did the lead come in? When did your team follow up? What were they saying? And all that stuff, right? We're good, right? We're just full disclosure here. Like, this is what you guys are doing, and this is what's happened if somebody works with Rockerbox.
Exactly.
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit share screen here. So we should. All right, guys. Perfect. So what I did is I'm in Paul's account. I just filtered through the PPC leads because that's all you guys are touching for them right now. And again, you guys just started getting rolling, so we don't have a ton, but I kind of want to go through and see what's going on. So again, I just filtered. Let's see, I'm going to do a filter here that I've got saved. So it's the PPC leads that have come in since June, when you guys, for the most part, started. Filtering by, let's just go with the last login so we can kind of look at the most recent people. So I guess as I open this up and start scrolling through, and you guys are going to notice I scroll to the bottom a lot because, again, the history tells the story, so we want to see what's happened. Josh, tell me the process, what happens with your team when leads come in, because you guys are working in FirePoint. So kind of walk us through what's happening, what's going on, and what they're trained to do.
Sure. So for starters, like you said, we're logged into FirePoint. So everything that we do is completely transparent with Paul, so he can hold us accountable and track our delivery of our promises. But the number one most important thing to do when someone registers is to acknowledge that registration, reach out to them, and call them right away. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. Again, we've done a lot of research on what people are doing when they're searching for homes online. But typically, something happens in someone's life, either moving toward pleasure or away from pain, and there's some type of trigger that caused them to go online and to put in the keywords, to land on your website, and then actually put in their legitimate name, phone number, and email address. And so we want to capture them while they're in that emotional state, while they're still on the website looking at homes. And the only way to do that is to call them right away. So as you can see on this lead right here, we got to them in only 2 minutes. And this is the absolute most important strategy that we execute. In fact, about 55 to 60% of all the opportunities we identify come from just calling them right away. And like you both alluded to, agents are out in the field. They're trying to stay face to face in front of motivated buyers and sellers. That's the highest income producing activity they can be involved in. And so that's what we want to make sure is we're open nearly 80 hours a week, which are your typical mall hours. So when someone lands on that website, they're in that emotional state, we want to pick up the phone and call them right away. And just to kind of explain some of the notes here, you'll notice, it says client care department logged a phone call, and it says 165. Again, we're all about accountability. Champions crave accountability. We've got to be able to keep the score to know how to improve. So 165, that's actually one of the members on our team. So we know every single person on our team the work that they've done. So it's not just client care department as a whole, but we can actually narrow things down if we see an issue with the lead and go talk to that one individual caller.
So would that be something if a team lead's working with you and maybe they're seeing it's not 2 minutes in this case? And guys, just so you know, I've worked with a lot of companies and I've been monitoring this, and time again, man, it is fast. But let's say we see some slow responses. Is this then so you know who did it, who to go and coach up?
Exactly. Yeah. Or if we saw some notes in there that didn't make sense, we'd know who to actually go to. So again, everything is super, super clear and transparent in all of our communications. But as you can see, not only are we going to call them right away, we're also going to text them and welcome them to the site. Some people like to try to find the shortcuts, which is texting and email. But of all the opportunities we've identified, again, we've identified over 50,000 over the last 4 years. We've found that 74% of them come from a phone call.
Wait, say that again, because I want to make sure people don't miss this.
Yep. So again, 50,000 opportunities that we've actually handed over to real estate teams. 74% of those came from a phone call, right? 25% came from a text message, which is obviously a new transitioning form of media that people are being responsive to.
You see that growing over the last few years as well?
Yeah, the text has grown a little bit, but what has actually decreased is your email, which is 1%. So a lot of these seminars and ISA webinars and stuff that you go to, everybody always wants to find the shortcut. They want to text someone or they want to email someone, but the most aggressive and most effective form of marketing and interaction with someone is to pick up the phone and actually call them. So that's why we are just absolutely obsessed in our Rockerbox headquarters with picking up the phone, calling people. You can get so much more accomplished in such a short period of time. You can build rapport. You can establish, credibility that we're sharp and that we're enthusiastic and that we're ready and excited to earn their business.
That's awesome. So, and again, the filter on this, guys, just so you know, I went in, just pulled PPC leads since June, since that's when Rockerbox, and this was the most recent person in his leads. So we've got registration, call, text, 315, 316, 316, they respond. So they respond within 4 minutes of registering on the website. I know a lot of people are always like, oh my gosh, I don't want to bother them. They're just on here. And look, this person's responding, 2 bedrooms. I mean, they're engaged, right?
Yeah. Exactly. That's you use one of the magical words that we don't like to use, which is bother. Again, if you approach a lead as if you're going to bother them, you're already in the wrong mindset, because you should look at your services as something value added, right? You're stepping up to the plate and giving an opportunity to actually add some value to this person's experience. So if you already approach it with this mindset that you're bothering someone, you're already behind the 8 ball to start with.
So and a team lead was just asking me, I've got an agent that takes leads on Sundays, but they don't want to call on Sundays. They don't think it's appropriate, or they don't want to bother them. I mean, you guys do this 7 days a week, right?
Yep. 7 days a week, 80 hours a week. Yep. If they're on the website looking, they're in that emotional state. That's when we want to talk to them. I mean, if you worked at Best Buy, when would be the best time to sell someone a TV? When they're walking around the department, or after they go home and get distracted with their normal everyday life?
Yep. You got it.
Yeah. You want to get them right when they're in that emotional state.
Yep. So, all right. So they respond, they're coming through. You guys have a conversation going back and forth, looking to rent up until whatever it is you're going. So at what point do you guys decide or make that transfer or contact an agent?
Great question. So we like to categorize people as either an A, B, or a C buyer. An A buyer is someone ready to go right away, right? There's no doubt, there's no hesitations. They're ready to talk to an agent. They might even want to schedule a time to go see a property today or tomorrow. A B buyer is someone who's in the next 90 days looking to purchase. So here's a perfect example: the next 2 months, right? Already having conversations about financing. So that is somebody that, again, in our opinion, the best resource available to them is going to be a licensed real estate agent with local market expertise, as well as partnered up with your preferred lender who can start helping them through that financing issue. So that's an A or a B buyer. We're immediately going to pass that over to the team. And then a C buyer is someone who's 90 days further from purchasing, and normally there's some contingencies and something that they're waiting on to happen. And so for those people, we can warm those up for you and set you up for success long term. But the people that we want to keep in front of you, the highest income producing opportunities, are those A and B buyers. Someone who's ready to go now or in the next 90 days.
Awesome. So it looks like this person makes a comment. They're looking at buying in the next 2 months. So you guys change their status and everything. Let them know you're going to have an agent reach out, and then that's when the transfer happens.
Yep, exactly.
Perfect. So let's talk. I'm going to scroll to the next one and just kind of look at a couple through here while you're talking. Tell us a little bit about the options, because I'm sure we have different team structures. So we have probably some people that want round robins. We probably have some that are in large areas. Maybe, and I don't know with Paul, but You might have areas where I only work North Portland or South Portland or Vancouver. How do you guys tailor that so that it makes sense to everybody else?
Sure. So, we like to keep everything that we do consistent, because that's how we become great at something rather than just good at a lot of things. So our system is super, super consistent. It's a very well-oiled machine, but there are a couple options along the way. And one of those is your round robin. So some of the teams that we work with might just have a handful of agents, and there's really no discrepancy amongst the leads. And so we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other markets that we work in, maybe more complex metropolitan areas that maybe might have, a more affluent area or a more sort of starter home area, and maybe their team is a little bit more tenured, and so they want this price lead going to this quality of agent. Some of those that are a little bit more complex, what's worked for us best in the past is to have a primary point of contact on the team who knows everybody on the team and knows that area. And so we just pass everything over to them, and they dole it out to the right agent that would be best to service that area. For example, one of our first clients ever that we started working with is in the Salt Lake City area. And on one side of the mountains, you've got a typical suburban metropolitan area, but on the other side of the mountains, you've got, multi-million-dollar luxury vacation homes. So there's a big difference between who's going to handle what lead in that market. So we just hand it all to the primary point of contact, and she doles it out.
Awesome. I had a couple questions come in. So first one is, so lead comes in, we're talking about the 5 minutes, and I apologize, I'm a few minutes late on this, guys, but lead comes in at 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Call, don't call. What are your hours? What are your thoughts?
So we're Central Time, Monday through Friday, 9 to 9, and Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 6. And so when we're in the office, if someone registers, we will call them immediately. Now we do have some time blocks as far as outbound calls. So we're in the office till 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. Well, that's 10 p.m. Eastern. So we're not going to be making any outbound follow-up calls at that point in time, because that could bother someone. But if someone registers on the website, again, we know they're in that emotional state and they're receptive to having a conversation with us. So we will always call a new registration within our hours, but we do kind of limit. For example, when we're in the office at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, that's 7 a.m. Pacific time. So we're not going to be pounding and making a bunch of follow-up calls at 7 a.m. for someone who hasn't just registered. So again, instant response is always covered. But then when we make all of our follow-up calls, we do get a little bit more calculated about what times a day we make those.
And on that, guys, to dive deep, and we can dive deep on that afterwards, you can reach out to your account manager. If you're not wanting to call after certain times, you can set up our lead distribution between certain hours to send out specific auto response messages saying thanks for registering, or it's after hours, or whatever it is. So you guys can tailor that to make sure that the right response for the right time is going out on behalf of you. So awesome. So I just went down, I think, 2 more leads. So it comes in asking a question, inquiries coming in, 8:40. You guys are reaching out again, 8:41. They inquire again. Looks like you guys call again. Has a couple lenders lined up already. Then I look at this. I think this is great. He responds back, "I'm so sorry I bothered you. We saw our home in Dallas to sell." This looks like a referral opportunity as well.
Yep.
So this is great. I mean, some people hang their head. No way, this could be a referral. And you guys get it to the agent. So, I mean, and here's the other thing to think. If you guys are watching this, Josh, you and your team can only take it so far, right? You can't continue the follow-up. You can't show the property, and you can't write the contract.
Exactly. We haven't developed our teleportation technology yet. So unfortunately, we can't put them in our car and show them the property. But if you scroll down and look at the original questions there, I just want to kind of highlight what exactly we're looking for. There you go. That identifies as an opportunity. We want to know their time frame, right? So in town the next couple of days and wants to look at the property. We want to know if they're contractually obligated to another real estate agent, because obviously we don't want to be getting anybody in trouble, stepping on any toes. So it says no agent right there. Price range and location, right? And then, of course, their motivation right there. Husband is starting a new job, and then their financing as well. So those are all the questions we're trying to dig through to figure out motivation, time frame, price, location. Do they have an agent? Do they have a lender?
And honestly, big props, because this is really awesome. Because I've seen ISA programs. I've worked with a lot of teams and talked to a lot of teams that as soon as this inquiry comes off, it's a handoff to the team.
Right.
There's still really no qualification. So you guys are really taking it a step further.
Exactly. Yeah, we know that's a super hot lead, because obviously they're submitting a showing request. But again, it's all about acknowledgement. If you walk into a super nice steakhouse and your reservation isn't for another 30 minutes, you're still being acknowledged right at the door, right? And so that's the type of service that we want to provide. We want to do what's in the best interest of the customer experience. So if someone submits a showing request, they're going to feel empty and disregarded if they don't hear from someone for a couple hours. But if they submit a showing request and they get acknowledged right away and say, hey, I'm an assistant on the team, I just saw your request here, I'm going to get your information to an agent as soon as they get back into the office. So now they feel like, they feel a little bit more important. And again, this is an emotional state that these people are in, and this is, for most people, the largest financial purchase in their life. And so we want to make them feel special about this search and not like they're being disregarded.
Yeah, that's incredible. And hopefully everybody's watching. I'm just scrolling through leads, really looking at your guys' response time, and I don't even think you guys have hit 5 minutes on one yet, which is incredible. So, save searches. I know that you guys can possibly set it up, or you can, if you guys are reaching out and they don't answer. What's best practice? Because I know we've just turned on a different option for Paul, but what do you guys like to see happen?
Yeah, what we like is, to have some sort of auto email go out, which is obviously going to be based upon the searches that they've already done on the website. But once we get them on the phone, again, coming from a position of contribution, we're trying to add value to their home search. That's one of the first things we talk about. Hey, tell me a little bit about the home that you're looking for. Right. And again, since we don't know the local market, we can't get too detailed. But what we can figure out is, general bedrooms, bathrooms, right, price range, and some location. And so what we can do is kind of edit and modify one of the searches. And again, just have that conversation with them. But once we pass a lead over to the agent, they should definitely jump in there and look at what their search is, because you guys have way more local market knowledge than we do. Right. And you can maybe go in there and kind of customize it a little bit more specifically. Again, knowing what you know about the market. Some markets we work in, people, they go online and they're looking for something that just doesn't exist, but we don't know that,
Right.
So that's why it's best that once an opportunity gets passed over to you, to double check what their home search is set up to be, and to customize that for them.
And guys, and again, if you don't have this set up on your site, you can reach out to your account manager. I worked with Paul and his team. We customize the search so that you can set up fire points when a lead comes in. If a safe search isn't created for them at a certain time, and you dictate this time, you tell it, if it's 2 hours or 5 hours or 12 hours, I want you to create this search. You pick the areas, you pick the size, you pick the price range. And what Josh was saying is, you really want to keep it broad. You don't want to narrow it down too much, because the idea, again, is to get them back on your site. This is the number one thing that's going to bring them back to your site, is having the safe search go out. And you want to be able to offer something of value. So you can, keep it broad, so you can reach out to them, offer to, adjust those save search, narrow it down, and really drill down to what they're looking for. So you want to keep that open, so they're getting something every day to bring back.
Yeah, and for years, I've had people ask me over and over and over again. And again, getting my start at Viral Marketing, which is a video marketing service, people are always trying to get super creative. What's the craftiest, neatest thing that they can email these people? Well, it's really actually very simple. The opt-in when they register on your site is, do you want to look at homes? So what do you think you should send them? Homes, right? It's not that complicated.
Yeah, no, that's the only reason they came to your site, was to look at homes. So that's
exactly.
So, all right. So here's a question. So I'm looking at this guy. You guys reach out again, and we've went through 13 of these. You've yet to hit 5 minutes. He's just looking, which is fine. We've established we've got the correct person, the correct phone number, so that's a win in my book. And they're not looking for a while. What are you guys seeing when it comes to PPC for incubation period? For that, when they're really starting to look as an all. Have you tracked that at all?
Yeah, so from all of the opportunities that we've identified, we really have 3 core strategies. We have our new instant response. We have our 21 days of gain, which is 10 phone call attempts and 4 text message attempts in the first 3 weeks. And between those 2 strategies, we identify about 80% of the opportunities. And then we've also done some long-term follow-up, which is with the people that say, hey, I'm just looking. And typically what we'll do is we'll check in with them monthly and just make sure that nothing's changed in their home search, because I know there's a phrase out there, buyers are liars. So sometimes it's not intentional, but sometimes someone might have a dream of moving into a home in 12 months, and then, hey, a month from now they get a promotion and now they're out looking and they're in the market again. So right. we like to touch them monthly. But that is our least effective strategy, just because you're right, Gabe, there's a lot of tire kickers on the web. There's a lot of people that are out there just interested. And so that's why we want to focus our efforts most on the people who just arrived on the site, registered, and something triggered their search. So as far as what the incubation period is on those watch people, it can be anywhere from 3 to 16 months. But again,
say that again. Is it 3 to 6 months? What'd you say?
3 to 16 months, depending on how long people stay in the pipeline. But the thing is, you don't want to put all your eggs in that basket, because again, that's the least effective strategy to convert the leads.
Right.
Just waiting for someone to magically reach out to you again.
But at the same time, somebody maybe, if they're doing PPC now, or they're just going to start doing PPC, whether they're doing it on their own or coming like with Rockerbox, you need to have expectations that you're not going to really start seeing that return and a true sense of your investment and efforts for several months down the road, because this takes time. These buyers are very early in the process.
Yep. Normally that sort of the first bend that people turn is around 6 months. Again, we're gonna notice that as soon as we start our activities, within that first month, we should be up to about a 10% opportunity identification. So let's say, in Paul's case, he's had 54 leads come through in the last 2 months. We've already identified, I think, 10 or 11 opportunities. So that's actually almost double what the expectation is on our behalf.
Yeah, I literally I just pulled that right before he jumped on here, guys. It was crazy.
Yeah, so we're close to almost a 20% conversion on Paul's account right now, just 2 months in. And then, Paul, how many closings have you already had because of our activities? Didn't you say 2 or 3 closings?
We got 1.5.
1.5. Okay.
We're talking just under 2 months.
Less than 3 months. We don't even have a really full sales cycle here. We're quadrupling our AdWords budget through FirePoint with your guys' system based on that response rate that you guys have got us.
Yep.
So what'll next week? So we're super excited about it.
So what'll happen right around that 6-month mark is we're hitting all the leads up front, getting the instant response in the 21 days of gain. But then we're handing over the opportunities. And then now, Paul, your agents are taking those opportunities and actually helping them find their dream home, and actually getting them finance, and actually taking them through the whole pre-approval process, and then actually submitting offers. Everybody knows that the real estate cycle itself can take 90 days, even if someone says, I want this home today. So right around that 6-month period is when Paul should feel a really good, consistent revenue engine of us doing our activities and his agents doing their activities, and just a good, consistent, predictable.
Well, and the fact, you're looking at almost. Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I wasn't actually expecting a closing for the first 90 days. I was extremely pleasantly surprised. The second opportunity that Rockerbox identified for us was an out-of-town buyer looking for a condo, and went pending within 48 hours.
Yeah. Nice.
That's incredible. The fact that you're at 20% conversion on these, we're only 2 months in, and Paul, can I throw you under the bus a little bit?
By all means.
Because you're not all alone. I met with Paul a few weeks ago, and we made some big adjustments to their process, how they're following up. We did a more in-depth training with his agents, got the auto create save search turned on for them, because a majority of these leads his agents weren't putting the searches on for, not understanding how important. So honestly, I think those numbers could probably be even higher, but it's just having the right systems, because Josh and his team can only do so much. You as the team leads, and there are things, not that Paul wasn't doing a job, he just didn't know some of the things maybe he could be doing or how to do it in there. And those are the things we want to help you with. So, so Paul, I guess too, seeing now and learning what they're doing, what are some of the things that you've changed in the last month as far as what you're doing with the handoffs and the Rockerbox leads?
The number one thing I've been doing is using the tools within the system to foster good communication and make sure that people stay on top of their follow-up. FirePoint's really smooth in regards to the ad. It's something so simple when you showed me how to communicate with other agents within this live feed. So when something needs to happen, that's exactly all you need to do. So it takes me 15 minutes in the morning to go through, and obviously that will increase as our lead flow increases. But anything that you spot that's an opportunity that may have missed, it's a 10-second note. You don't have to go in and click a bunch of boxes. It's done. Yeah.
What he's talking about is trying to find an example here is, obviously as a team lead, whoever's paying for this, you also need to inspect what you expect, right? So when you're coming in, look at what's going on. There could be transfers, there could be bubble ups. When Josh hands it over to his teams, I'm gonna make sure I pick one here that you're not cussing in too, Paul.
Look.
But when you're looking and you see maybe somebody inquires something, you can see that that Paul mentioned it right here. Whenever you need if you see something that needs to be addressed or you need help with, by simply typing the @ sign, it'll let you mention anyone assigned to the lead, any admin, including a lender. So you could literally hit @Michael, hit enter, what's going on with this lead. Or, you know what, if they've mentioned in here, Michael gets a hold of them and they mentioned that they need financing this fast, please call ASAP for finance. Whatever it is, when you hit enter, the person you mentioned gets an email and a text, depending on how your notification set up, with a link directly back to this lead and all the notes, guys. So again, Josh and his team can get it to you, but you have to take it to the next step. Some tasks. You're going to have some follow-ups. When you guys get these and they tee them up, that's as far as they can take them for you. It's up to you in your market to get going. So, oh crap, we have a whole bunch of questions here. All right.
Yeah, I always like to, just before you get to the questions, I always like to refer back to the what was it, 2 Super Bowls ago when the Seahawks had the ball right there on the 1 yard line, threw that interception. It doesn't matter how close you get it to the goal line, if you don't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch, you can wind up in losing the Super Bowl right there at the last second.
Yeah, and honestly, it falls on the team lead at that point, because again, if you have people who are super busy, they can't be doing this. You may need to be evaluating, are we giving too many leads to our agents? Because once Rockerbox is getting rid of all the sand and they're giving you those gold nuggets that they're telling you about, they take time. So you need to make sure that you're spreading those out far enough to where everybody can give the proper service. So, all right. In the process of choosing a website, HTML compatible, I still need a website, or does program come with landing pages where you get the cost? So everything's built into FirePoint, guys. They literally will log in with a user seat so that everything that they're doing is logged by them. That way you can track it in accountability, everything. They're putting their notes, they're texting from the system, everything is in the system. So you don't need to go anywhere else. Do you treat buyer leads and seller leads the same, Josh?
So that's an interesting question. In the last 4 years of all the online lead gen conversion practices, our easiest way to identify a seller opportunity is to ask a person searching for homes if they need to sell their home first. So we do handle seller registrations, but we've noticed a significantly lower conversion rate. There's a lot more just tire kickers and interested nosy neighbors and things like that are doing home evaluations. But again, we of all the opportunities we identify, about 8 to 10% are seller opportunities. And most of those come from someone who registered to look for homes. And we just ask them the question, hey, do you need to sell before you?
That's the key. You asked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Let's see. My offers.com leads are different approach than PPC. I'm not sure what he means by that. But again, if you have any leads that are obviously parsing in, do you guys only do PPC, Josh? Or if I have certain leads coming in, if I want to bring in my Zillow, my realtor.com, when we do our setup with you, will you handle those as well?
Absolutely. We'll take all those auto imported leads, as long as they can get to us and we can respond to it in a timely manner. The other thing is we are a permission-based call center. So, the person has to come through your website and actually register their information. We're not doing any, James Bond, spy type of prospecting or anything like that. It's permission-based call center. They come to the website, they give us their name and their phone number and their information, and that's when we reach out to them. So any type of auto-imported lead, you can get in there. And again, we don't recommend buying leads that are just an email opt-in. We got to get that phone number. Again, 74% of the opportunities we identify come from a phone call.
Right. Okay. Cool. Do I have any others there? Nope, not so far. So you were also telling me a little bit about some stats. You were at a conference or something recently.
Yeah.
And some more stats. Would you mind sharing that with everybody?
Sure. Yeah. So we talked about the media types. Again, phone is the most important, then text, then email. But again, in this whole ISA, inside sales agent, online lead gen game, there's a lot of ideas floating around there that someone heard from somewhere that they should be doing. But we actually, dove in and did the research through a lot of the statistics that NAR provides. And, one of the most shocking statistics that we came across from, I think it was the 2015 or 2016 NAR statistics was, when all the home buyers were actually polled as to what the primary reason for the timing of their purchase was. And again, these are home buyers, not home searchers. Those are two different people. Buyers are the ones that pay your bills, right? Searchers are the ones that annoy you on your website. So when they asked the home buyers what was the primary reason for the timing of their purchase, they were given many logical driven answers like pricing or inventory or financing or affordability, things like that. And the number one answer by 46% of the polled people was it was just the right time. Just the right time, right? That sounds like a much more emotionally driven decision than a logical driven decision. So a lot of people have to come to the realization that although this is one of the biggest financial transactions of someone's life, it's still an emotional decision. And if we take a step back and we think about all the things in our lives that have changed over the last 10 years, we live in an instant gratification society. Nobody, I don't know anybody that actually watches television when it actually airs on television, right? We're Netflix, HBO Go, we're Amazon Prime. Even if you are forced to actually watch live television and a commercial comes on, the next thing we go to is our cell phone, right? To get distracted away from that. So again, we're an overloaded information, instant gratification society, and so that's why it's so important for us that when this person is in an emotional state, we want to actually reach them while they're in that emotional state and have that conversation with them. So, there was a study that was done a couple of years ago by what was it, Salesforce, and they identified that have over a 400% chance of connecting with someone if you contact them within the first 5 minutes as opposed to the first 10 minutes. So that's a 400% drop off. Right. But one of the other things that a lot of real estate agents don't come to the realization of, and this is something that, Paul, the agents on your team should thank you, is the support and the foundation that you're building for them. These online leads in no way are proprietary information. Now, if you rewind the clock about 10 years ago, back in the early days of online lead generation, for the same number of homes that have been sold over about the last 10 years, which roughly there's 4 to 5 million homes that are sold every year. Back in 2007, we only generated 2.7 million online leads. So again, 2.7 million registrations for 4.5 million transactions. In 2015, it was estimated that there was over 120 million online leads that were sold. Right. So now imagine that graph. If you take the 4.5 to 5 million purchases. 2007, it was 2.7 registrations. And in 2015, it was 120 million registrations. So what does that mean? It means the online lead generation game is so competitive. Everybody out there is selling leads. And so it's not the lead that you're buying that you suddenly have this proprietary information. If someone goes on one website and gives out their name, phone number, and email address, they're probably going around to a bunch of other websites giving out.
Do you know statistically? I mean, I think last I'd heard or saw or read or something was like 4 to 6 websites. Have you seen any update to that, Josh, on how many websites you're registering on?
Yeah, I think I think I'm close to the same research. I mean, last I checked, I thought it was about 7 or 8 different websites, because again, that person that doesn't feel like that sense of privacy, like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to give away my information, because there's a lot of Mickey Mouses and Scooby-Doos out there, but the person who actually puts the legitimate information out there, they're very trusting. They put it all over the web. And so now all your competitors are calling on these leads as well. And so that's why it's so important to understand that it's still up to you, the agent, to win the business. There's thousands of agents in your MLS. You have to actually demonstrate to them why they should do business with you. What is it unique about the services that you're going to offer that's going to help them through one of the toughest financial transactions of their life?
So I'm going to jump back over here again real quick, Josh. This guy came across another one. In fact, you know what? I'm actually going to add your label on here because it's not on here. You guys transferred it, so I want to make sure you get credit for it. I think you're up to 12 out of 54 now.
Oh, perfect.
But so here's one that came in. Just an example, and for you too as well, Paul. So they get them on the phone. We get the information, 250, blah, blah, blah. Gets it to over to Tori. She gets it, spoke, set up, not ready till next year. I don't see a logged call or a call recording, which I know something is you're working on, Paul. But for those of you that have the dialer built into the system, agents need to use that. You need to be able to listen to these calls. You need to be able to hear what's going on so that you know, is it a scripting if we're not. Once Josh's team gets them teed up, why did some fall off? Why did others not? You need to be able to listen to that and fix that scripting. But what this gets more interesting is comes through, we're going to call, but then emails, I'm interested in this condo. We respond, nothing's going on, still called with a 4-day follow-up. But the interesting is we're calling and calling. Rockerbox gets them on the phone. Guys, as team leads and agents, if you're listening to this, if they're talking to you on the phone, Josh already told you, majority of the response that they're getting is on the phone. And then text, emails 1%. And we're emailing to try and set up showings. Pick up the phone, right, Josh?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
So we've got somebody here that's bubbling up. They've done the job. Maybe a dropped ball. Again, probably relying too much on email and just systems.
Yeah, if it's August 1st today and that was July 2nd, I would imagine they probably found someone to show them at home.
Yeah, probably got. And guess they haven't logged on since then either. Yep. So again, somebody else got them. Somebody got them on the phone, got them something going, and now they haven't been back.
Yep,
so it's a good example, and they're engaging. And this is the stuff I know, Paul, you're working on, but these are the things, guys, that you should be looking for. Rockerbox is not going to solve all of your problems. They can help solve a lot of it and get rid of the crap so your agents aren't mad about having Mickey Mouse and Joe Blow. They're going to have real people with real contact information.
Yeah, our goal and the results of our activities is not to make selling homes easier, but it's to make the time that you invest in your profession, in your real estate profession, it's to make that time the highest income producing time possible. So you don't have to dig through the 90% of uninterested people to find the 10% of interested people. Now you get to take all that time that you used to waste on those 90% of people and invest that even stronger in the 10% that are actually interested.
Yeah, that's crazy. Man, I have yet to find one that hit 5 minutes. This is awesome. And are you guys training all your ISAs? Are they local? Or are they what's
Great question. So our headquarters is in College Station, Texas.
Okay.
It's home to Texas A&M University. And I don't know if you've heard any good Aggie jokes, but it actually is a very prestigious university. You know, most of the kids there are in the top 10% of their high school classes. They're in extracurricular everything. And these kids are just very driven and motivated. And what Rockerbox provides for them is an opportunity to not only earn some part-time cash, but really what most of our kids get out of the opportunity to work at Rockerbox is the next step in their professional career. So over the last year and a half, we've had 100% job placement of all of our graduates. Because they go into an interview and they're pursuing careers in sales, and they say, yeah, as a part-time college kid, I made thousands of phone calls a week to prospective home buyers across the country. And people are saying, you did what again? And so our kids are getting job offers multiple job offers as soon as they're walking the stage. And so these kids look at showing up to work not as just a clocking in and clocking out opportunity, but really as an opportunity for them to invest in themselves and to grow their professional skills. So we have an amazing culture within our office. You know, we actually start every single huddle, or every single shift. We have 3 shifts throughout the day. Each shift starts off with a 10-minute huddle where we recognize everybody for meeting our goals the previous day. You know, we talk about what's new and what's going on and what's changing. We actually even have a little connection card where it's like a dinner party conversation starter where everybody kind of learns a little bit more about each other. And then we set our goals for the shift and break our huddle. And so the shifts are only 4 hours in length because we know that this work can be grueling, and so we want it to have a super high energy, enthusiastic atmosphere in our office. And so that's how the shifts run every 4 hours. And then as far as our development of our talent, we have every 3 weeks, we have all team masterminds where we bring the entire team out for a fajita dinner and give every single person in the company, whether they work there for 1 day or 3 years, we give them an opportunity to let us know what they feel is our greatest strength and our greatest opportunity. And that allows us to brainstorm ideas on how to continually grow our company and make our services even more efficient. And then for our callers who have been with us for a few months, they have an opportunity to be promoted as a client care senior, which is one of our more senior level callers. And then we even invest more into our seniors by having workshops every 3 weeks where we take them out to dinner. That's awesome. Do a nice, fun happy hour kind of experience. And we do a deeper dive into, not only their skills as a caller, but now their skills as a leader within our call center. And so we actually have 4 different levels of leadership within our call center at all times. And so our highest level is our client care manager. And it's literally someone walking around all day long with, customer service evaluations, that they're listening in on calls and they're coaching people on the calls, and they're making sure that we're putting our resources in the right place to best deliver the services to our clients. So if I were to hang our hat on one thing that really provides us our most sustainable competitive advantage, it's really the culture that we've developed. We've gone after that sharp, enthusiastic talent, part-time shifts, high energy, investing in developing that talent. This isn't a dead-end job for them. This isn't the last job they'll ever have. And so that's kind of our secret sauce. And again, it's super awesome. One of our most important steps of our hiring process, after we go through all disc profiling and phone interviews and in-person interviews, is to actually invite them back for an observation where they spend an hour on the call center floor and they actually listen to phone calls and they look at the technology and they have a full understanding as to what will be expected of them. And then they have to write us an email and let us know how will they benefit our organization. So they kind of have like almost, some of these emails we get are almost, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs long, where they basically tell us what our organization is all about and how much they would love to be a part of that. That's so awesome. We have a very rigorous hiring process. We have very little turnover, 100% job placement after graduation. It's a really, really great group.
That's incredible. And the good news is the team leads out there that want ISAs and all that don't have to hire, don't have to train.
Exactly.
So, all right, we're 45 minutes in. So I want to jump to pricing. People are interested. They're asking, how does this work? I mean, you're a large team, small team. I guess, what do you guys do? How do you make this work for everybody?
Yeah, so we first started 4 years ago, aiming after sort of the medium to large size teams, and then over the last couple months now, we've started changing up some of our services to be more accommodating to some of the smaller teams or individual agents that are looking to grow teams. And so typically it's about a minimum of $1,000 a month to get started. And again, you're getting 80 hours a week of coverage, and you're getting 10 call attempts on every single lead. And if you do the math, depending on where you're at in the country, to hire someone to monitor your website for 80 hours a week for just $1,000 a month, I mean, that's kind of
it's not monitor. It's call, it's email, it's text.
Yep.
Yeah. And so is that limited on leads? Is that only for so many leads a month? Or how does
it's based upon your lead flow. So if you're getting up to 100 registrations a month, you can get started for as little as $1,000. And then it scales up from there. So like I said, we do, for a smaller team that's only getting about 100 leads a month, we're going to do the initial scrub, but we'll actually hand over those long-term leads because, you definitely have the time to start establishing rapport with them. Some of the bigger teams that are generating a large flow of leads, we'll actually do the long-term follow-up for them as well, just because, again, we know that they're very overwhelmed with the lead flow that they've got. So we'll actually do the instant, we'll do the 21 days of gain, and we'll do the long-term follow-up for them as well. So there's a different scale of services, but again, the most important thing is that if you're looking to get started, you can have this support on your team for as little as $1,000 a month.
Awesome. So how do people reach out to you?
You can shoot me an email personally. I'm Josh at Rockerbox, and it's spelled a little weird. It's rokrbox.com. And I'll be sure to introduce you to one of our account managers. And again, talking about the culture within our company, every single person, every single level within our company has at one point in time been a caller, myself included. So every single person on our team, whether you're talking to an account manager, whether you're talking to one of our ramp-up coaches, or one of our through our orientation process, every single person knows exactly what we're doing because they've actually done that work at some point in time. So shoot me an email, josh@rokrbox.com, and I'd be happy to put you in touch with one of our account managers. And we can do a full demo with you. We can walk you through all the research and all the data and everything that we've done to establish what our strategy actually is.
And again, everything's in their own system. They don't need another system.
Yep.
You're going to log into their system. Everything's in there.
Exactly. 100% transparency.
Paul, sorry, we started talking and just kind of left you off on the side there. It's only been a couple months, but I mean, what's your ringing endorsement?
My ringing endorsement? We've never had any
conversion.
We've never had anything even close to that much consistency with the 5-minute turn time. You saw the identified opportunities percentages. We went from 1% to 2% to 20%. I mean, the growth is ridiculous.
Okay. So the biggest thing on the team lead side probably is now you have more work to do, follow up to make sure those balls aren't dropped.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a great problem to have, and I will take that any day.
Awesome. Well, Paul, thank you so much for letting us get inside your account, seeing what's going on. For everybody listening, we'll email everybody Josh's information as well, so if you didn't get a chance to write it down, or you're listening while you're driving, something like that. Josh, thank you so much for taking the time. We'll have to do it again. Anything we can do to help improve. I know you even sent me over some suggestions, all about getting those leads converted for people. So
sure. Thanks for having me, Gabe.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate it. So thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on one of the FirePoint webinars.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.